Hey everybody, this is Charlie with 4BZ Truth. I hope you're having an awesome day. It's Wednesday and I think it was the 13th. I haven't even paid attention to the date today. But anyways, the reason I'm checking in today is, I just joined my media team at my church and been thinking about the video that I made that really has inspired a large amount of traffic, or has drawn a lot of traffic to my channel, and it's actually at 137,000 views. And again, this is like one of those things where I never thought that I would hit like more than like 1,000 views or something on a video. So it's like a huge blessing to me to be able to influence anybody out there. But with that said, I actually have, I get comments that trickle in, and I, have people that watch the video, and basically the title is talking about the existence of God in the afterlife. And man, there's a lot of haters out there. I don't know why people hate the thought of there being a God so much, for one thing. I don't even know if I'm really pushing the issue that hard on that video. But I do know that there is patterns, in my opinion, in my way of interpreting the information out there, that there's an indication that there's intelligent design. Now, if I was to advocate for anything specific like a religion, I would say that God, I'm not going to try to advocate for any one religion right now, other than, everything points to there being a God that interacts with people. And we have the capacity to operate for his cause or whatever. Anyways, this is not the point of why I'm making this video. The main point for why I'm making this video is this guy freaking commented and he said that it was an interesting video, but he's going to maintain his atheism. And in my mind, when I hear somebody say outright that they're an atheist, I think, what has pushed somebody into that conclusion that they're an atheist? And generally speaking, what I've gathered is that people are jaded, or they're angry at religion or church or whatever, or people that misrepresent or represent in a way that is those people that call themselves atheists are disagreeing with how that actually presents itself. So as far as being an atheist, oftentimes they'll gravitate towards science as being some sort of authority for their reality, and science has concluded that that there's no God or something, which is interesting because there's no way to actually prove that through science. It's not an observation that they can reproduce. Like, anybody that understands science should know that you can only test the observable. And I'll even venture as far as to say that we can't necessarily prove God exists through science, other than philosophically, like it's how you interpret the information. I believe that you can find patterns that point to there being a design like I don't know, the Fibonacci sequence, or just diversity of everything. It's like you have something like a bacteria that starts off being a reproducing bacteria, and then eventually gets to the point where it's humans and elephants and kangaroos and trees, and I mean all these different freaking organisms that I don't see how so much diversity is something that's just reproducing itself. It's not reproducing itself. It's reproducing something that it can survive, or it's gravitating toward things that can more easily survive. But I don't understand how a reproducing bacteria could figure out that it needed to survive. Or even if you take it a step further back, or further back, the protein, a self-replicating protein or amino acid or whatever, how do you get? So scientifically speaking, you cannot conclude that there is no God. I think it's easier to conclude that there is a creator, or there is something that transcends this reality, because of the patterns that I see in the complexities. So if anybody's going to come to me and say, this was an interesting video, but I'm going to maintain my atheism, it kind of bugs me, I'll be honest. It's like, you are deliberate and stubborn to say that you're an atheist because you would prefer to basically reject the information about near-death experiences. And really what it comes down to is there's patterns that point to there being a creator. And for those that are Christians, and I don't always seem to advocate for Christianity, I've just come to a little bit of I say this with hesitance because I don't really know if God interacts with everybody. I feel like he interacts with his creation in general. It's not necessarily somebody that's under the umbrella of Christianity. I just feel like God resists the proud and gives grace to the humble. He freaking... I believe the Bible is inspired. I do. But I also believe that there's extra biblical books that are inspired. I believe that there's people that are inspired. I don't, draw the line and say, oh, well, God doesn't interact with people anymore, or he doesn't inspire a written word, or whatever it ends up being. Now, confirmation of, the predecessors, confirming, the prophetic words or whatever. I guess in some ways we want to validate, the perspective of the Bible, but the reality is that there's so many. Forgive me for bouncing around. I'm driving through my neighborhood here, but I got to regress back to the point that I'm trying to make, or digress, I should say. So, I just wish that atheism wasn't some scientific monopoly, or I guess I should say science is a atheistic monopoly. And I just wish that people could just stop being so proud and become more humble. I swear that it's profound. God resists the proud and gives grace to the humble. if people were more humble, they would find that they are with God or in God or whatever. You know, I'll always go back to this parable, the parable of, you know, this tax collector and the Pharisee. I swear that this is the crux of it all. God gives grace to the tax collector. My wife is looking at me with the baby through the window, so I gotta go. Love you guys.